we're out and about in the auction truck right now. I got my son with me. We're gonna go visit Hunter. We're gonna go to his shop right now. I borrowed a starter from him a while back, and I'm bringing that back now because I got a different one. And I'm also going to get an exhaust manifold from him because I pulled my manifold out that I was gonna use for the triple turbo setup, and I realized it was a driver's side and I needed a passenger side. So we're gonna pick that up, and I'm also bringing him some snacks. Let's go. Right, so some of you guys know what this is. We're at Hunter's shop right now. I'll post a link to his channel if you guys haven't seen his channel, but he just got his dyno installed, and he's just saying he wants to put the CRV on it tonight. So he has, what is this engine in here?
B20.
A B20. This has the 3071 turbo also, the same that I'm putting on the Ranger.
Yep.
So this is where the inspiration came from, with the 2 liter, 1 turbo, 6 liter, and 3 turbos.
Yeah. That was some crazy math that you sent me that night. It was like, that doesn't add up.
Well, I was off-roading. There's some mud in the engine bay. Wow, how does that get way up there? That is an odd. Oh, look at the wastegate, dude. It's spinned. I'm gonna have to spin that back around.
Right at the radiator.
Yeah.
So you've just been bogging this in the snow.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of been just like a daily beater for now. But we haven't gotten no snow, so it hasn't been no fun.
Where does
This
this?
thing honestly needs snow to be fun.
Where does it spool at? You say?
I see full boost right around 2,500 RPM.
That's pretty good. So 5-6 pounds you're on right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see, I think on like 15 or 16 pounds, it might fully spool by like 3 or 32, 35 maybe, but.
That should be pretty good.
And that's with a pretty
find
choked
out.
up exhaust, you know.
All right, so Hunter's got his fridge here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show the snacks I brought. There. Now he's got some pizzas. So somebody donate a pizza oven, and then he won't be hungry.
Right.
You got DiGiorno?
Dude, we got stuff.
All right, so got the manifold. Now we can get to work. Got some other exhaust parts going. I'm starting to put some of the truck back together. I actually pulled the valve covers and stuff off so I could disable the rockers. So I did a leak down test on all the cylinders, and I wanted to verify that everything was still good. Everything was good. It was showing like between 5 and 15% leak down. It was pretty good. So I'm gonna put it all back together. The concern I had, or why I did the leak down test, is when I pulled everything apart, I saw a bunch of this garbage in there, which that could easily be condensation on the valve covers. But my oil looked like this when I pulled it out. So I was a little concerned about that. I don't think I am right now because leak down showed fine. And I'm gonna put it back together, put some oil in it, and I'm gonna run it and check the radiator with the cap off and make sure that there's no like bubbles or anything coming out. I think that's fuel in there, because when I took the 210s out of the truck like 3 months ago, I put them in the car for a little bit, and I made like one fuel change. I changed the flow rate, and then I made like one other correction to it just to get it close, with the intent to go back later and change it, and then I just never did that. And I've been driving it to work for like 3 months at like a 12.5 air fuel ratio, like 12.5 to 13 all the time. So probably a little bit rich, well, very rich, especially with E85, because I was running E85 in it for a long time. So I think that's fuel in there. But yeah, that's why I wanted to do leak down and all that stuff. So I'm gonna verify that and then probably get to work on the manifolds. Things have also been a little bit slow because I'm waiting on parts. Like I ordered some parts, and then I changed my mind and I ordered some different parts, and hopefully the stuff will be here in the next couple days, like some elbows and pipe and all kinds of stuff that I'm going to be doing with this. But what I want to do is build the crossover and then go back and build the setup back there first. Because what I'm going to do is finish everything up front here. Basically get this side with the crossover. I mean, not crossover, it's like more like a merge, but 2 into 1, go back. I'm going to do 2.5 inch back, and then what I want to do is turn the truck around, obviously, because I don't have very good lighting back there. So what I'm going to do is drive it out, back it in, but I don't really want to drive it out with open headers right now to flip it back around. So I'll finish at least a little bit of an exhaust back, then flip it around, and then cut a hole in the bed, come up, and then we'll start working on the turbos, getting that stuff mounted. I did run it with the manifold on, no bubbles in the radiator. I looked at the oil. Oil looks nice and clean, so it must have just been the fuel that was in the oil. This milky junk. So I'm just going to go with that, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mark this manifold, and I'm really excited to go back to a regular manifold on this side, and I don't have to have the long like up and over wires. So that's kind of cool. And now I'm gonna cut this thing here and then like weld a V-band onto it. So let's do that. Okay, so what we have here is the manifold, and I did go ahead and kind of grind this down. I usually don't clean it up this much. I've never actually done it before, but I'm going to be TIG welding. Usually I MIG weld it and just cut it and blast the welder all the way around it and it works fine. But I'm gonna TIG weld it, and I want to try to actually make it a little bit better than I normally do. So I kind of beveled some of the edges. It didn't really work out the right way. So some of them are beveled. If we look on the inside, that's kind of what it's going to look like. So it's almost perfect. I did put my number 12 Furic cup on. I've never used this before. So this is my first time going to be using this. I did grind the tungsten nice and sharp. I'm actually going to use a stainless rod welding this on, because this is stainless and this is cast steel. I'm going to see what it looks like when I use a stainless rod. I'm sure it'll all work the same. Usually I would use like well, I normally MIG weld these, but on this I would normally use like a ER70 S2 or S6. So I'm going to use the stainless. And the rods I'm going to use are a 308L. That might not be the best or greatest or whatever for this application, but that's what I have. So that's what I'm going to use. Let's talk about machine setup a little bit. So I'm going to turn this on. I already have my bottle open. I did this before because I wanted to... The machine's kind of loud, so I think I might start around 100 amps. And we'll go from there, but I want to change my post flow because it's stainless, so I don't have a lot of pre-flow, but I'm going to change my post flow. I normally have it like 3 seconds. I don't like to use a lot of argon, so I'm not really particular about my welds, but I'm going to be trying my hand with stainless for once. So I think I'm going to go up to like 7. We'll try that. And that's kind of where we'll start. And let's get going and see how this works out. So some of you guys know that I am very new to TIG welding, and I understand at this point that the argon and the pre-flow, post-flow is very important. But what I said before is I don't like to use a lot of post-flow because that's just me being cheap and not caring about what the weld looks like. So a lot of times I'm welding like crappy aluminized cheap metal or cast stainless manifolds or just stuff that I don't really care about that I'm going to be wrapping anyways. So main concern is get the weld to work and not fall apart. But now that I'm going to be trying to mess with stainless a little bit, I actually got a lot of stainless for this because I want to learn how to do it. So I'm going to be working on pre-flow, post-flow, argon settings, trying to make the welds look better because that's where I want to go in the future. I'd like to grow a little bit more, grow my knowledge, and figure out how to do stuff, and that's how we do it. So you guys are going to come with me, whether you like it or not. Okay, so I got the manifold all done now. There's the weld on it. So not too bad. Now I'm gonna go through and I'm just gonna practice on some of the stainless tubing pipe that I got for the exhaust for this. So this is what I got. I got some 2.5 and some 3-inch, and I just want to do like a practice section and see how that goes. I'm gonna try to do it with no purging, and then I don't have like a purging setup, but I did get some solar flux. My buddy Brian, and you've seen his car on the channel a few times. He's got that LS Swap Volvo that runs like easy 9s like crazy, and it's a super nice car. He suggested, or he told me about solar flux, and it's like a paste that you put on the inside of the joint so you don't have to purge it. So I have some of that. I'm going to try that, and I might do that in a separate video just to talk about that, but for this one I'm going to do without purging at all and just see what it looks like. I'm also going to be using a 332 308L rod, and I just ordered some 16th rod, some 309L. I was talking to Brooks at DIY Garage TX channel, and he's a very good welder, fabricator, and he suggested using 040 rod or 16th rod, and I'm going to try that when I get it, so it should be here like in a day or something, but this might be a little bit big, but let's see what it looks like. Okay, so here was the first attempt. So this isn't really great stuff, but we're working on it. So I think the dabs, the beads look okay there, but it's really dark, like it was too hot. And then here I started to move a little bit faster, and I got a little bit better color out of it, especially in that spot. Just moving kind of low amperage and moving really quick with a lot more filler. So adding more filler was keeping it cool, and I think it helped me with the color on that one. But just trying to balance that. So I don't want to do too little amperage that it takes too long to puddle and I move slow, but I don't want to do too much that it's just throwing a bunch of unnecessary heat into it. So trying to balance that with how much rod to add, because adding the rod and how much you add will help keep it cool. And I did see quite a bit of a difference in change with just how much I was adding, because you can see a couple different spots where it's like really flat. Like that spot there is really flat versus here where I was like adding a lot more filler. So you can see it was cooler and there's more of a bead. One of the other things I'm going to do on this one is I did a different grind on the tungsten, so it's a lot more pointy, and I did the grind direction differently. I was always doing it perpendicular to the tungsten, but this one I did in parallel with the tungsten, and I feel like that might be better. So let's try that. Finer point, direction change, and I'm going to do like 25 CFH, and that's going to be my stick out. We'll see where that goes. Alrighty boys, so that's about all we got. I just used this piece and kind of welded the crap out of it. And did a bunch of stuff, tried some different techniques and different speeds and amperages and all kinds of stuff. So that's kind of where we're at. Turn the light on. And just did some practicing with the tubing. And now I'm going to get going on getting the rest of this exhaust together. So that's where we're at. It ain't pretty, but we're learning.